Good morning, students. Today we will start our next topic under Sale of Goods Act, that is Unpaid Seller. Under this topic, first of all, we will discuss the meaning of unpaid seller. Afterwards, we will discuss the rights of unpaid seller. To begin with, who is an unpaid seller? This is defined under the section 45 of the Sale of Goods Act. Seller who has not been paid either the whole amount or the partial payment, or one who has received payment in the form of bill of exchange or other negotiable instrument which has been dishonored is called unpaid seller. Next, we are discussing rights of an unpaid seller. Rights are divided into two categories. First is against the goods and second is against the buyer personally. You can see different rights under these two categories with the sections. We will discuss these one by one. Like, first we are discussing against the goods. Three rights are available: right of lien, section 47 to 49, stoppage in transit 50 to 52 sections, resale under section 54. To begin with, first of all, the right of lien against the goods. The unpaid seller of the goods who is in possession of them is entitled to retain possession of them until payment or tender of the price in the cases mentioned, like the first one where the goods have been sold without any stipulation as to credit, where the goods have been sold on credit but the term of credit has expired. Next, where the buyer becomes insolvent. पार्ट डिलीवरी के केस में यदि अनपेड सेलर हैज़ मेड पार्ट डिलीवरी ऑफ द गुड्स, ही मे एक्सरसाइज द राइट ऑफ लियन ऑन द रिमाइंडर ऑफ द गुड्स unless such part delivery has been made under such circumstances as to show an agreement to waive the lien. तो यदि वेविंग ऑफ लियन का राइट नहीं है तो रिमाइंडर ऑफ द गुड्स पे सेलर राइट ऑफ लियन एक्सरसाइज कर सकता है. नेक्स्ट हमारा आता है टर्मिनेशन ऑफ लियन. देयर आर सर्टन सर्कमस्टांसेस जहाँ पे अनपेड सेलर जो है लियन का राइट लूज कर देता है, जैसे बाय डिलीवरी टू द कैरियर. When he delivers the goods to a carrier or other bailee for the purpose of transmission to the buyer without reserving the right of disposal of the goods, lien right end हो जाता है. इसी तरीके से by delivery to the buyer, when the buyer or his agent lawfully obtains the possession of the goods, या by waiver thereof or by tender of price. The unpaid seller of the goods having a lien thereon does not lose his lien by reason only that he has obtained a decree for the price of the goods. So this is first right, that is right of lien. Second is right of stoppage in transit. An unpaid seller has the right of stopping the goods in transit, यानी रास्ते में रोक सकता है after he has parted with their possession to a carrier. Right to stoppage in transit means right of stopping the goods while they are in transit, resuming possession of them and retaining possession until payment of the price has been made by the buyer to the seller. This can be exercised only and only when these conditions are fulfilled. Like the very first one, the seller must have parted with the possession of the goods. The goods must be in transit and the buyer must have become insolvent. ये कंडीशंस फुलफिल होने के साथ ही राइट ऑफ स्टॉपेज इन ट्रांजिट को एक्सरसाइज किया जा सकता है. हालांकि ड्यूरेशन ऑफ ट्रांजिट की बात करें जो कि सेक्शन 51 में मेंशन है, ये ट्रांजिट एंड हो जाता है जब या तो बायर टेक्स डिलीवरी ऑफ गुड्स, बायर और हिज एजेंट टेक्स डिलीवरी ऑफ गुड्स बिफोर अपॉइंटेड डेस्टिनेशन इन एंटिसिपेशन, और कैरियर और बेली एट अपॉइंटेड डेस्टिनेशन एक्नॉलेजेस पोजेशन ऑफ गुड्स, या फिर कैरियर बेली wrongfully refuses to deliver goods to buyer or his agent. So the transit ends in these cases. Next, थर्ड राइट हम देख रहे हैं अगेंस्ट द गुड्स, दैट इज द राइट ऑफ रीसेल. इसमें हमारा सेक्शन 54 में मेंशन किया गया है दैट द सेलर हैज़ द राइट ऑफ रीसेलिंग द गुड्स इन द circumstances when goods are of perishable nature, where seller gives notice to buyer of his intention to resell and buyer does not pay the price within a reasonable time after the notice, or the third one where seller has expressly reserved his right of resale in case of default. So these are the three cases where the seller has a right of reselling the goods. So with this we come to an end the first part, that is the right against the goods. नेक्स्ट हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं राइट्स अगेंस्ट द बायर पर्सनली. तो हमारा फर्स्ट पार्ट कंप्लीट हो गया. वी आर कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट जिसमें हम इंक्लूड करते हैं राइट्स लाइक वेरी फर्स्ट वन, रिप्यूडिएशन ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बिफोर ड्यू डेट. इट इज़ डिस्कस्ड अंडर सेक्शन 60. यदि बायर रिप्यूडिएट कर देता है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को बिफोर द ड्यू डेट फॉर द डिलीवरी ऑफ द गुड्स and the seller does not accept the repudiation and waits for due date to make the delivery, उस केस में he reserves the right to sue the buyer for repudiating the contract. Next is suit for price, which is covered under section 55. If the ownership of goods has been transferred to the buyer and he refuses to make the payment for the goods, then the seller may sue the buyer. Next is suit for damages, which is covered under section 56. If the buyer refuses to accept the goods or defaults in making the payment for them with a malified intention, or refuses to accept the goods or to pay for the same, seller can sue the buyer for damages. Next and last is suit for interest, which is covered under section 61. इसमें seller has the right to be paid interest by the buyer for any delay in making the payment. So these are the rights of unpaid seller against the buyer. With this we come to an end to our main topic, that is the unpaid seller and rights thereof. Thank you.